Welcome, guys. We are going to take you through the basics in some of the basic things you should know when you're embarking on a geological field mapping. All right. So first of all, the field mapping exercise, I'll put it into threefold. So I will say that we have the field mapping exercise, we have the pre-field mapping. So let me say the pre-mapping techniques. The pre-mapping techniques, the mapping. So let's say the on-field mapping. So on-field. Then let's say we have the post. Let me also talk about the post mapping techniques. Right. So we're going to basically talk about these three things. What you should know. Have the So first of all, let me take you through the pre-field. So let's say pre-field. The pre-field basically talk about the things you should know or the things you should do before you embark on the geological field mapping. But first of all, I'll talk about some of the items you need. So let's say items needed. Let's talk about some of the items you need. So before that, yes, hello. So some of the items you need, so basically, as a geological engineer, if you're embarking on a field mapping, first of all, you should know you need your PPEs, right? You need your PPEs. Your PPEs, you need your helmet, you need your safety boots, and you also need should I say, your reflector, your PPE. Then, yes. So you can also, let's say, get some of the PPEs from your seniors. If you have, let's say, PPEs from any of the mines, you can take them along. Those of you who have links at Chirano, AG, and all that, you can take them along, right? So now, there is one thing I also encourage you to take with the safety boots, because you are going to do field work. Some people may go in for the normal safety boots we know. But others encourage you to go in for what we call, in the Ghanaian setting, what we call the wallet, is it the Wellington boots or something? Yeah, so you can go in for that one. So let's say you can go in for the Wellington boots or something because it's raining and all that. So you have to get that one because should I say, you'll be stepping in water and all that. You'll be stepping in water, like you see, rocks are usually exposed when we are when you embark, you traverse along, let's say, river channels and all that. So there's going to be waterlogged areas where you traverse and all that. So I'll encourage you to go in for this and the Wellington boots rather than the normal safety boots we know of. So what again? I encourage you to take nose masks. Take nose masks. You may not know. So take nose mask. I, yeah. Then also take, let's say, eye protectors. Take eye protectors, right? If you have, take because they are going to take samples of rocks. So you have to be breaking them. And you know that when you break, it's just like they are going to be overflies, right? Overfly of some of the rocks. So take eye protectors where they need be. Also, I ask you to take gloves, right? Go in for some gloves. It may not be necessary, but it's required. Like they may not, your lecturers may not let's say stress you on that, but you need it because it will help you have a successful traverse. So you need that one as well. Then let's talk about your field notebook. This is one of the major things you need, your field notebook. This thing will be checked, so that's why I'm going to talk about it more. So one of the major things you need is your field notebook, right? So get your field notebook, and not just any exercise book or not just any sheet of paper or any book you call a field notebook. Your field notebook should be able to resist water, okay? Because they are going to it might rain and all that, so your field notebook can get wet. But there are certain field notebook that can resist water, okay? So get a field notebook with a hard cover, not a paper cover, like a hard cover, because your field notebook is going to be inspected. And you are going to use your field notebook very well together with your pen. So make sure your field notebook is that's required, right? So get a better field notebook. And this field notebook should contain nothing but everything you are going to do during this period. Do not add anything to it. Make sure your field notebook is new. Don't go and bring a field notebook you used when you went to field trip at Manchia or field trip at Kuntumo. Get a new one, because the coming semester you are going to really need your field notebook for the whole year. So make sure your field notebook is good enough. Now, the next thing, so with the field notebook, we will talk about what goes into it, but make sure you get it. Then also, under the pre-field, what I'll tell you is that you should study your map. Study your map. You'll be given maps, right? So you are in groups. You'll be given map. You'll be given map. If you have any question, you can just type it into the comment section. We'll address that. You'll be given maps. Then you have to study your map. So each and every group will be visiting a different place, right? Some people will visit, let's say, Abonu, anything Veron. Some people will go to Asasirewa. Some people will be like different locations. So you'll be given traverse, let me call them base maps. You have to study your base maps. Your base maps will have certain geological features, certain landmarks. Like it will have rivers, it will have, should I say, transmission lines. So, and you see all these things in the legend. It will have major roads, feeder roads. So basically, it will have roads. It will have mountains, valleys. You should study all these things so that you know where you traverse along. I'll talk about them. So study your map. You should study your map. Then before even you study your map, I'll encourage you to grade your map, right? Grade your map. You've already been taught how to grade maps in physical geology, where you use the various let's say, which is the latitude and the longitude, right? So you grade your map. So your map will come with graticals, which are the latitude and the longitude. So it's up to you to grade your map. Now, the essence of grading the map is that because you're going to take locations, you're going to take locations of your outcrops, your traverse, wherever you are, you're going to take GPS coordinates. So you are supposed to grade your map so that you know at each position where you are. So grade your map before you go. Don't be like other groups who they do not grade their map and they found one thing. Make sure you grade your map. Like before you even start, make sure you grade your map. So I think you'll be asked to stay at Index. So make sure you grade your map before Monday that you are going to start the traversing. Whether you are tired, make sure you grade your map. Emphasis on grade your map. Now, before you also embark on any of the traversing, make sure you decide where you want to go. So let's say if you have this as your base map, the group should decide, okay, so let's say on Monday, we want to traverse along this side in the form of a loop. Let's say on Tuesday, we want to start again from here, then traverse to this side. On Wednesday, on Thursday, so it's going to be a 5-day field map, right? And let's say on Friday, we're going to traverse this way. So the group should decide on that. But before you embark on the field mapping, make sure you identify where you want to go. Don't go there and be thinking about where you want to go. That's the main reason why I said study your map. So when you study your map, you know that traversing, we do various traversing. Okay, so when you study your map, you know that, okay, we have rivers here, we have valleys here, we have mountains here. Okay, so when I visit these areas, I'll be able to get outcrops, right? You don't have to go. So we want to know the rock types and the geological features, give the geology of the area, and this can be done basically through taking the rock samples and mapping, right? So you have to know where and the location where you are going to get various outcrops. So you don't just go and embark on the field mapping, right? So know where you want to go. Please, this thing, do not do it on the map. Just decide with the group. Okay, so let's say on Sunday, you decide that, so this is our map. On Sunday, before Monday, you decide that you want to traverse along this side. After the field mapping, let's say on Monday evening, you decide that, okay, on Tuesday, we want to go here. The group decide. So that when you get there and the lecturer asks, you know where you are starting, or even when the driver asks, you know where you want to stop. Because after Monday, even some groups on Monday, you are left to your own fate. So you have to know, you have to tell the driver, okay, we are starting, we want to stop here. Then you actually know where you are starting and where you are ending. Right. The next thing I'll talk about, so I think, yes, under the pre-field tools, some of the things I'll talk about, let me talk about this because it's very necessary. If you don't do this, you may end up messing up. Now go along with SAT. Go along with SAT. And with SAT, I don't mean just go and take any polythene bag, something very light, which a rock can just tear, like destroy it. Go in for something thick. Get this polythene, this sack bags. Those of you who let me not just say, like, you know, the sack bags I'm talking about. They are sack bags farmers usually use and all that. Get good sack bags, as many as you can. Yes, as many as you can, because they're going to take samples of the rocks. So get sacks. Emphasis on get sacks. Now, go in with marker pens, go in with marker pens, go in with sellotape. And the marker, please, it should be a permanent one, not just any marker, a permanent marker. Go in with sacks, sellotape, go in with papers. If you can even get tags, go in with tags. Because you are going to name your samples, right? So when you pick a sample, you are supposed to name the sample. And if you can't just use the marker to write the name on the sample, the samples usually are wet. It may not last. And you know that you go for a 4 day, 4 months back before coming to school somewhere around January to work on your samples. By the time you return, the sample IGs have already been cleaned, and that will be a very big challenge for you. So go in with permanent markers, papers, sellotape. So when you take maybe this my rock sample, you write your sample ID on the paper, you wrap it around the sample, then you use the sellotape to like tie it around it so that it may not get loose, or you may not lose a sample and its ID, right? This thing, I'm really much particular about this, like, because I think my group didn't pay so much attention to this, and we almost were asked to go back for that field mapper. So I'm really much like concerned about this. Take note of this. Now, let's talk about, so these are some of the basic things I think I'll talk about, some of the things you should know before you embark on the road mapping, right? Now let's go out and talk about the mapping techniques itself. Let's talk about the mapping techniques. What are some of the things you are going to do, right? So before I'll talk about this. Now, the bus leaves as early as possible, right? As early as possible. Anytime the bus, it doesn't wait for anybody. So it will just leave, right? So make sure you are the required place at the right, like you are the required place at the right time, so that when the bus gets there, automatically you go with them. Else you have to find a way to get yourself there. And if you don't attend this road map, you can't graduate. So you have to embark on it. So you don't have to miss this roadmap. I don't even have to talk about this. You already know the department and what they can do. So make sure you are there at the right time. Then now, the bus doesn't wait. Ever say again, the bus doesn't wait. Right? It gets there. The moment it gets there and it's about leaving, it just leaves. It doesn't care whether you are there or not. Now, also, and when you are leaving, you are going to stop once before you get to your destination. So I think we are going to stop somewhere around Kuntinase. So when they stop there, make sure you get something. Don't just go and get water and be thinking that whilst you are traversing, you buy something. No, you'll be traversing in bushes, in rivers, in forests. You're not going to get anything to buy there. So make sure you get something when you are light at Continency. Get something to eat, whether breakfast, whether wachi, kinky, whatever. Buy it. You'll be eating in the bus. So don't be shy. Just get something to eat. You can get water. If you want some energy drink, you can get it. But get water, maximum water. I think the bottle will give you water. So, but the water, you can't be carrying the water along. So maybe you can go in with bottles, water bottles, get water. Yes, get water. Yes, get water. Then, yes, get water. Then, yes, get water. 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 Yes they are going to give you people safety kits, right? The safety kit contains the paracetamol and some glucose and all that. Make good use of them. Make good use of them. Now, when you arrive at your location, right? When you arrive at your location, first thing you have to do when you arrive at your location, note this. Record the following. When you arrive at your location, record the following. So before I even talk about this, note that your field notebook will be marked, right? Your field notebook will be marked. It will be graded. Your field notebook will be graded. So make sure your field notebook is organized as possible. So record the following upon arrival. The first thing you have to do, record the following. Like if you forget anything, record this. So record the time of arrival. Record the time of arrival. On each day, on Monday, the moment you alight at your first location, record the time of arrival. Note the day. What day is it? So note the day. Now record the name of your facilitator. Record the name of your facilitator. Whoever will take you through that, like who help you that day, record the name of that person. Then also to note this, so you record the day, the time, the location. The location, take the GPS of that location, and also note whether it's Abonu, it's Atiserewa, whatever name they call the place, name it as well, right? Whatever name they call it, name it as well. Then so this is upon arrival, right? Upon arrival, you have to do this in your field notebook before you even start anything. And it should be as quick as possible. They are not going to wait for you to do this. So you do this. Now from there, after doing this, now you are coming to start with your traversing. So the next thing you have to do is you have to orient yourself. You have to orient yourself. And with this orienting yourself, they might take you through. But for those who are going to probably meet the Kachiri on the first day, we are not going to teach you this. So your TAs will come around. I think they will have a session with you on Sunday. And so you have to ask them how you are going to orient yourself. But basically, with orienting yourself, we want to tell you that note where your north is. So realize that when you study your map will have a north arrow. Your map will have a north arrow, right? It will have a north arrow. So basically, you're going to align your compass. So let me say, I'm going to put my compass at this side, right? This is my compass. Then I rotate myself to my compass. There is the compass. There is some, let's say something like this thing in it, right? And with one, they've written north on it. So I'll rotate this thing, this board. So again, go with a board, a drawing board, right? So what is this drawing board going to do? So you're going to put your map on the drawing board. Then you sellotape it so that, let's say, it will prevent it from flying off and all that. So go in with a drawing board, right? A drawing board, one drawing board for each group. Now, so you make sure that the north aligns with the north. So the compass has something we call the index. It's a certain white mark. So make sure you align yourself so that the compass needle, which has the north, will align with the index. So they'll teach you this, but I want to tell you that you have to know how to orient yourself. So know how to orient yourself. So that's what you are going to do. So you orient yourself. Now, after orienting yourself, meaning that you initially already decide where you want to go. So maybe that on Monday we want to traverse along this side. So you've already decided. So you say that, okay, we want to traverse along this side. So after orienting yourself, now traversing begins. Now, with this traversing, you are looking for outcrops. Outcrops and not boulders. You are looking for outcrops and not boulders. Be able to differentiate between an outcrop and a boulder. Just go online and search this. You are going in for outcrops and not boulders. This thing might cause a big challenge for you when they go in and go and measure altitudes of, like going to identify boulders. No, we are going in for outcrops and not boulders. Now, once again, There are several, so that's why I say study your map so that you know where you can find outcrops. You can find outcrops in river channels, you can find outcrops in valleys. When you traverse along mountains, you can find outcrops and all that. So you study your map. So your map may have certain blue lines in it. These are river channels. So you can choose to traverse inside these river channels, right? You can choose to traverse along inside these river channels. So study all these things on your map before you embark on this. And now, anytime you identify your outcrop, right, there are certain things, key things you should do. So when you get to your location where you've identified an outcrop, so let's say I identify an outcrop, there are certain things you should do. Now, you take the location where you found the outcrop. And with the location, I mean whether it's a valley, it's along the road, it's on a mountain, if you're a river channel, you are supposed to state it. Again, with a location, you are supposed to take the town name. The town name. If it's at Abonu, I saw it. Did I see it as Aseserewa? Wherever you saw it, name it. Again, with the location, you are supposed to also take the GPS reading. So you'll be given GPS, right? You're supposed to take your GPS reading. And with your GPS, make sure for accuracy, the elevation is about 3 meters or less. 3 meters or less. Else you end up taking wrong coordinates. So make sure your GPS is about 3 meters or less, your elevation. Then you take the location, the GPS reading of the location, also in your field notebook. Then you go ahead and describe the outcrop. In description, so when you are supposed to describe your outcrop, we want to know the color of the outcrop. The color of the outcrop. We want to know the occurrence, how the outcrop occurs. Is it massively exposed? Is it massively exposed? Is it well exposed? Is it not? Is it well exposed or not? Is it shall I say massive? Is it partially exposed? Take note of all this. Is it a massive outcrop? Is it like so? That's what we mean by the occurrence. Now you're supposed to also use your hand lens. Use your hand lens. And with using your hand lens, you're supposed to the hand lens will help you to describe the texture. So you take hand specimen, you break a sample, take hand specimen sample, then you identify, you describe it's the textural features of the outcrop. And with this, I mean the grain size. Please, with the texture, we don't mean pass your hand through it and say it's rough or it's smooth. With texture, we mean the grain size, the grain shape, and the orientation. So with grain size, it can be coarser, it can be coarse, it can be fine, it can be medium, it can be fine to coarse, it can be medium to coarse. That's what we mean by the grain size. With the grain shape, it can be rounded, it can be subangular, it can be rounded, it can be angular. Take note of this as well. Depending on the rock type. Also know your rock types. Also know your rock types. Did I pick is it a sedimentary rock? Is it a sedimentary rock? Is it an igneous or is it a metamorphic? So with this, basically the field mapping exercise will be along Bosom Tree area, So with this, you are basically going to encounter meta-sedimentary rocks, basically. You are basically going to encounter meta-sedimentary rocks along the Bosom Tree area. So read about this. Why am I saying you are going to meet meta-sedimentary rocks? Read about that. Then also, so with this, basically, you're going to come across certain rocks like phyllite, rocks like schist, rocks like metagrewaki. Others will come across certain igneous rocks like the granitoids and what have you. Some of you will also come along some sedimentary rocks. Yes. Then we also take note. So that we are still on the description. So you also state the type of rock you've identified.
So all these are field mapping characteristics, right? Field description. So these are field descriptions. Now, you also have to identify what structures you have on your outcrop. What structures? Can you see so structures? Can you see folds? Do we have folds? Do we have faults? Is it faulted? Joints, veins? Can you see veins? Whatever. You have to describe the structures. Mainly most of the things you are going to see will be foliations. Foliations, right? Foliations. And the foliations, is it an S1? Is it an S2? Is it an S0? So, but basically, most of the things you are going to encounter will be foliations and joints, right? Foliations. So, know what foliations are. Now, note that upon identifying these structures, you have to take attitudes of the structures. You have to take attitudes of the structure. And these attitudes, I mean the strike, the dip, and the dip direction. The dip is the same as the, should I say, the dip amount or angle, the dip angle. So this is what you are basically going to measure. Attitudes. Please, we take attitudes of structures and not attitudes of the rocks.
Structures and not attitudes of the rock. So let's say attitudes of foliation plane, attitudes of let's say a joint plane, attitudes of let's say fold. But I'm not going to say I'm taking the attitudes of the sedimentary rock. I'm taking the attitudes of the metamorphic rock or the schist or the phyllites. No, we take attitudes of the structures the rocks come with. So
Okay. You may be able to identify them because your map will show rivers, right? So let's say somebody asks a way. And in your legend, you will see that they'll tell you that the blue lines are rivers.
rivers maybe they may be either valleys or river channels.
Now, the question about the mountains, you may not see that they've written mountains, you may not see mountains written on the maps, but with your contours, you may be able to identify whether the area is a highland or a lowland. So let's say this is my map. Then with my map, I have this as a contour. Let's say 1,000 feet contour, right? And I have, let's say, another contour.
200, right? You may be able to know that if I'm on this 200 contour and I'm moving this way into the 1,000 contour, automatically what it means is that I'm moving from a lowland to a highland. And that will be more of climbing. That will be like ascending something, right? And also, if I'm moving this way, that will be more like descending. So you should also take note of your contours. Please refrain from higher contours, although sometimes you may definitely come across it. That one you have to go. But try as much as possible to refrain from this. But once in a while, pass there for experience. Okay, just go and pass there. Because some of the lectures, the moment you decide, if I have my map, the moment you decide that we are traversing along this place, automatically you are moving in that direction. There is no going back. These are words of the Kachivi. Once you are traversing here, there is no going back. So even if there is no way, you have to find, you have to make sure you create a path, except that probably maybe will lead you into danger. But once the conditions are still but risky, you still go in because you are geologists, so you have to simply go in. I hope your question has been answered. Now, so just the descriptions, just as I said, we take attitudes of structures. So you do all these things in your notebook. So you measure the strike in your notebook, your depth direction in your notebook, please, in your notebook. Now, and in taking the attitudes of the structures, make sure you do not have any metallic thing or maybe a bracelet, a ring, or something around your hand. No, because you know that these things are magnetic. They can cause magnetic declination. So they can they can alter the readings, right? They'll alter the readings. They'll cause your readings to sorry, not magnetic declination, they'll cause your readings to deviate because the metallic things might, you see, the compass also has some form of metallic this thing in it, right? So it will tend to attract and it will cause certain deviations. So make sure, try as much as possible not to have these things on. Now, before that, you'll be taught what we call pacing, right? You'll be taught what we call pacing. And basically, the pacing is used to identify waypoints. What do I mean by waypoints? Now, with waypoints, if you traverse for about 50, you travel, I think it should be, if you traverse for, let's say, 500 meters without meeting an outcrop, you record the coordinates of that location and you identify it as a waypoint, right? A waypoint. Yeah, I think about find out is it 500 meters. But they'll teach you what pacing is because you need it. So they'll teach you what pacing is. So take note of pacing and practice the pacing, please. Practice the pacing. Practice it very well. And in the field, a lot of things may occur. You see, I'm telling you to take samples, and the samples should be as big as possible because you'll be working on them. You'll be working on the samples when you return from your vacation. You'll be working on the samples. You'll be performing petrographic analysis on your samples. So take samples as big as possible. And this thing, there are certain things that will arise. They will reach a certain point in time. Nobody will want to take the samples, carry the samples and all that. And you, let me tell you this, if you end up leaving your samples over there, it's the whole group that will bear the cost, the whole group. So try as much like coordinate things. If this one take the sample to this location and maybe this one also take it and this one also take it, don't leave the job to one person. Get yourself involved because whatever you are doing, you defend this. Whatever you are doing, you defend. And if you're unable to defend, that's a wahala for you. I won't defend this. So make sure you practice it. If it's about taking attitudes, learn how to use your compass. Study everything, the description, get your notebook right. And let's say after this, you also, after 1 year, you come and answer questions again on this thing. So make sure your field notebook is as good as possible that you may go back to refer. We did this field mapping last year, but this year, during our end of sem exams, there was a question on field mapping, right? So if you've forgotten, you will not be able to answer. And it's carried, I think, 20 marks or 15 marks, right? So you should be having this in mind. Though you are not only doing it for academic purpose, you should also have an academic background in mind. And also, and this is what those who be going to exploration and all that. This is your chance. Some of you may, even get good place to even do internship and all that. But please, so take good opportunities, like take good use of this particular exercise. Now, let's come to the sample labeling. When you take your samples, so just as I said, go in with sellotapes, markers, and name your sample. So when I take my sample, let's say when I take a sample at a specific location, I'm supposed to give it a sample ID, right? And this is a field sample ID, right? So I'm going to tell you what we did, right? So in giving a sample ID, let's say I'm going to name my sample ID, let's say. So let's say I take this a sheet of paper and I write on it B3J1, let's say 010125. What does this mean? So let's say this is battery group 1, right? For the B3J1. Then with this, the first one, which is 01, means day 1, first outcrop, then the year of traversing. So this is 2025, right? Then let's say maybe I move on, I meet a second outcrop. So let's say B3J1, battery group 1, day 1, outcrop 5. Let's say outcrop 5, 2025, right? So these are some of the things you are supposed to name. So let's say maybe day 2 is going to be what? B3J1, 02, which means day 2. Like, so give it a so let's say battery group 1, day 2. Let's say my 8th outcrop, then the year of traversing, something like this. I'm not saying do it this way, but you can go ahead and do it this way. Or let's say batch 1, group 1. Just give it a sample ID. Let's say write on a sheet of paper with a marker. Then let's say this is your sample you took. You just wrap this thing around it. Use the sellotape to bond these two together so that you will not lose your sample ID.
Yes. Make sure you don't lose your sample ID. You lose your sample ID, you go back to some to map. Okay. So make sure you don't lose your sample ID. Yeah. So I think these are some of the things we should know. Then I also talk about this. Now, after you arrive from the field mapping exercise, please you'll be given some lunch. Make sure you eat, okay? Eat well, eat well. Emphasis on eat well. Eat well. If you feel like you're unwell, to seek for medication, and rest well. This is not the time that you come, then you be, you've seen your friends, then you be hanging about and all that. Sleep well because you need energy for the following day, right? Then those of you who can afford, you can come along with mosquito sprays and all that. So that maybe before you leave for the traversing, you spray the room. Then so that by the time you return, it's good enough. Then you can enjoy your night. Then just like that, then you go again the following day. You spray the room like that, so that you don't get sick or anything. Now with the GPS reading, make sure that your elevation. Okay, I think I talked about it, but make sure. And now let's do this. Let's do this. The final thing. The final thing. Let's do this. Let's take the map, right? This is our map. Let me put in graphicals. Let's say 30 degrees for 0 seconds, 1 minute. Let's say north, 30 degrees, 0002. Let me say 40, 01, 03. Let's say this is my map, 03, 01, 04. Right? Let's say I've graded my map this way. Right. So when I take the GPS coordinates of my outcrop, where I find my outcrop, and let's say it's 30, 0, so let's say this is west, right? Assuming. And my GPS coordinate is, let's say this way, north, and let's say 03, let's say 40, 0103 west. Maybe this is the GPS location, meaning that on my map, I'm going to plot it at this point. And if it's a GPS of an outcrop, I'm going to put a circle around it. And if it's a GPS of a waypoint, I'm just going to put an asterisk there this way. If it's an outcrop, I'm going to put a circle around it. Then now from there, you're going to traverse. So you join traverse lines. So let's say from here, we took another outcrop here, right? Then you join with a traverse line. Then you indicate that you moved this way, right? Then maybe another one. So let's say this was just a waypoint, right? This was just a waypoint. And maybe here, you encountered another outcrop, right? So please, you plot this on the field. Sorry, in the field. You do this in the field, right? You do this in the field. Because sometimes your GPS coordinates may be giving you wrong locations because of the elevation. And if you end up not plotting in the field and you want to come to your hotels and plot, you may have recorded wrong GPS coordinates. And when you come, you realize that you'll be plotting at different locations. So try as much as possible to do this in the field and as quick as possible while recording them also in your notebook. So when you come back, you compare your field notebook to your map, your base map, check as much as possible to make photocopies